Here you are. Welcome back, everyone. Today we're going to be diving in all types of mysterious videos, disturbing theories that no one can explain online. Hit that like and subscribe button while we dive through these videos and clips and try to make sense of all this madness.
Have you heard of I want to say over somewhere in Africa they had headless men, like they built like a human, but
their body was a head.
Their face was on their chest.
I saw that. I don't know how real that is, but then again, we don't know everything because there were 6 different types of hominids on this planet, so that could have been one of them.
Could have been.
Yeah,
that's news to me. You said it.
I've seen it. Yeah.
It's like it's hard to. It's like pretty much.
I'll send it to you today.
Yeah,
the face is on. The face is right here. The face is no. Once you get to the shoulders, it's just smooth across.
Just smooth across the top. Yeah. What's that book?
I don't know what book.
When you mention that, it kind of reminds me of Total Recall. You remember you had the face in the stomach?
I do remember that.
Movies,
but that was a little face. I'm talking about, according to them,
it was the face.
They kind of took up the whole torso. The face kind of took up.
Yeah.
Blemmies. That's terrifying. Is that how you say it? Blemmies. I'll be running for the hills if something started coming after me and his face on his chest. You better get away from me. Man, Spartan kick so quick.
I've seen it multiple times.
Yeah. That's scary. It's not just a random lake in the Netherlands, okay? Let's take a closer view. Oh, wow. They're like little mini strips of islands. How cool is that? How does the plumbing and electricity work? I have so many questions. There is no electricity. Or if they do, it's solar maybe. I don't know, but that's interesting. The mosquitoes might be out of control. Speaking of insects, check out this. I don't even know what this moth is called. This isn't a moth, this is a Pokemon. Look how big it is. Look at the eyes on the back. It's like a little pet. It's probably a defense mechanism, so birds think it's something else. But I don't see what bird would eat this. It's literally the same size as a bird. And this one just looks like a little puppy. Look how furry this moth is. Is it trained? How does it keep coming back? Now, how are they able to do this with this ancient structure? That is insane. What is this pillar there for? Is it just for looks? How do they put a sheet under it? What is the purpose if the sheet can go under it? What is the purpose of this pillar? I want to see them do that to the top of this pillar. That would be even crazier. It almost gives it the illusion like it's levitating. Could this be proof that moonlight is not reflected sunlight?
Okay, here's a video a lot of people wanted me to make. Sounds really crazy. I'm using a FLIR, forward-looking infrared device, and it is an extremely clear night with a extremely bright full moon. There goes a car down the road. Huh? You can actually still see the brakes on my tires are a little warm there. So, got a full moon and we've got a shadow. So let's do, in the light of the full moon, 16 degrees Fahrenheit, 16 degrees Fahrenheit, 13, 12, yeah, okay. Here we are in the shadow. You can't see the shadow, but I am absolutely pointing it in the shadow. 22 degrees average, 22, 21, 22. Let's go outside. 18, 19. This is in the moonlight. 20, 19, 19. Also in the moonlight over here.
That is crazy. So basically it's colder in the moonlight is what I'm seeing based off this information. I feel like we could feel that. Like if we go sit under the shade, under a tree, does it feel colder? Or when you go from under the moonlight into the moonlight, is it colder? I feel like that's something we could feel. If you're enjoying this video, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button, because we do these videos every single day. And I love to see you around here. So let's get straight back into the action.
I trespassed on cult grounds and someone inside caught me. Down a normal suburban street outside of Portland, Oregon, lurks one of the most enduring legends on the internet, the Temple of Oculus Anubis. When I arrived at the iconic gates, I was reminded of the opening to Castlevania, or that scene in Willy Wonka where Charlie stands outside the gate and some random guy says, "Nobody ever goes in. Nobody ever comes out." Except in my case, the gates were open. I had a perfect view of the path leading to the towering statue of Sekhmet. I don't advocate trespassing. I had tried for weeks to find a way to reach the owners. So, resigned to being told to leave, having dogs sent after me, or being arrested, I stepped inside. I moved slowly down the path, soaking in the hauntingly beautiful atmosphere. I listened for rustling bushes or the beating of drums, looked for the flicker of torches or glimpses of hooded figures. But the only thing that appeared at the end of the path was a house. Not a gingerbread house or a Gothic mansion, just a house. I knocked at the door and waited. No answer. I turned to leave, but then the owner arrived and caught me on my way out. I shared about my educational experience and the type of content I create. We had a wonderful conversation, and to my surprise, she graciously gave me permission to tell the story I was hoping to tell. Oculus Inc. was the name of a fake eye care company that defrauded people of $3 million to fund the construction of what the internet calls Oculus Anubis. But that isn't the story I want to tell. That story's been told. This is the story about the stories we tell about this place. In the aftermath of fraud, the wife of one of those convicted was left to manage the property and the fallout. That fallout not only included those who were defrauded, but those who have created the lore around this place. There are tales of Egyptian death cults, networks of underground tunnels, secret occult gatherings, and even a fraudulent website called Oculus Anubis, The Rebirth, which is also the subtitle for one of the Howling movies. The owner told me once a man showed up with a sledgehammer threatening to smash the gates, forcing her to call the police. When I visited for the first time, a vandal had even smeared feces on the white statue of Sekhmet. The real story is about one person left to carry the fallout, where the very family behind the fraud kept creating new problems, all while internet sensationalists perpetuate myths that threaten the family, including the children that live here. As for the actual business happening behind these gates, the family is trying to rebuild their life by transforming this place from Oculus Anubis to Sonny's Organic Farm, specializing in chickens and eggs. There's an amazing irony in that this is the kind of place kids dare each other to enter, calling each other chicken if they refuse. Yet being a chicken is actually what qualifies you to get in here. Now, we can't deny certain buildings and landscapes evoke the imagination and inspire storytelling, but we need to handle each other's stories with care. In other words, good stories are important, but it's more important to be good neighbors. The reality is there is no cult inside the gates of Oculus Anubis, but there is a cult of chat around this cul-de-sac that has captured attention. This is my small effort to give gossip some glasses to see the truth and to encourage people to turn a blind eye to those trying to make this place a spectacle.
I had no idea this place existed. The trail is absolutely beautiful. Seeing the pine trees, walking down the path, that's right up my alley, but the crazy stories that go along with it, I had no idea. In this clip, they're talking about an unbreakable dome in 1623, reading from a 403-year-old Bible.
Let's check out the meaning of the firmament in this Bible, okay? So this Bible's from 1623, mind you. And in 1623, there was no question what the firmament was. The firmament was a dome in those times. Okay, so it says, And God made the firmament and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament. And it was so. And God called the firmament heaven, and the evening and the morning were the second day. And God said, Let the waters under the heaven be gathered together unto one place, and let the dry land appear, and it was so. Okay, so even with these little stars right here next to the word firmament, it doesn't have the footnote for expanse. So this proves their belief. Let's check out one other verse. Okay, the next verse I want to read is in Job 37:18. It says, Hast thou with him spread out the sky, which is strong and as molten looking glass? Okay, so this verse right here is why people believe there was a glass-like dome or a metal-like dome, and because molten would be like metal and glass means they believed it was reflective, like a mirror. So it wasn't until more recently that people stopped believing that there was a firmament that was quite literally a dome. All right, let me know if there's anything else you guys want to see. God bless.
Look at this book. Look at the binding on it. Man, this is interesting. And if you look at the words, it's like the F's. It looks like an F, but I guess it's an S. Interesting.
We're going to go down a little rabbit hole here.
Please.
Okay, so I took that drone shot there. That's a shot I took.
That's you?
This is in Colorado, man. This is like the Machu Picchu of Colorado. It shows you how incredible the natives really were. The reason this place is so cool is every 18.6 years, something happens called the lunar standstill. There was a guy named Dr. J. Malville, and when he was doing work up at this place called Chimney Rock, Colorado, he noticed that the tree rings, there was 2 building periods, and the tree rings showed that the building periods were 18.6 years apart from each other. And he speculated that during the next lunar standstill, and I'll tell you what that is in a moment, that a full moon would rise between the pillars at Chimney Rock, Colorado. And he was correct. The only reason it seems that they built this was to observe this phenomenon. A lunar standstill is every 18.6 years. The way that the moon normally rise and fall on the horizon changes a little bit. And they noticed this, and it happens for about 3 years. We're actually at the end part of the lunar standstill that started in 2023. Now, 2026 is the last year that we're going to be in this latest lunar standstill. So you can actually see this phenomenon now. I thought this was interesting. Like, why are they observing this lunar standstill that happens every 18.6 years? And I've always been really into economics and cycles and cyclical theories like the fourth turning. Ray Dalio, his business cycle, it's like 18 years. I started going down the rabbit hole with a guy named W.D. Gantt. This dude in the early 20s, he created a chart, what he calls his financial timetable. And if you extrapolate that out, basically he was creating this chart that predicted boom and bust cycles every 18.6 years. Basically recession, clear the leverage, and then a new cycle starts. It gets over leveraged again, and then it happens over and over again. I just think it's really interesting that the natives were following the same cycle. Maybe it was based off their boom and bust crop cycles, their abundance and famine cycles. Like, this thing keeps reoccurring over and over again. Well, he predicted the Great Depression. If you extrapolate his workout, he predicts the Asian financial crisis. Before that, he predicted the 70s inflation crisis. And then go back to that picture with the moon. What year is this taken?
2007, right before the subprime crisis goes full boom.
Exactly. We're going to go down a little rabbit hole here.
Please.
Okay.
See what all the fuss is about. Sounds like right up my alley. I wonder if it has to be a full moon. Like, how do you view it? Are you able to just go there and see it? How does it work?
Humble beginnings, but this time for the state of Missouri, who in 1821 would join the Union. Right off the bat, Missouri needed a capital like all these states did, right off the bat. And they picked St. Charles, which is about 30 minutes west of St. Louis. Why not pick St. Louis, an already established city? I don't know, but they picked St. Charles. And for 6 years, they scanned the lands of Missouri, and they found the perfect bluff in Jefferson City, which wasn't even a city at the time. Supposedly, they just plopped down this capital, and then the city grew around it. Let's check out the capital. High hopes in Missouri, I guess. Geez. In 1831 to 1836, this second capital was built, but it burned a year later in 1837. So they built another structure, the third capital, in 1871. But what's weird about that structure is it's highly conductive with its double copper-clad domes. I mean, what are you trying to do here? Get hit?
And it's almost like they're blocking something out in the top. I don't know if it's just a smudge on this old photo or what, but it's like the entire sky is whited out. Like they're trying to hide something up there.
Hit by lightning or something? Oddly enough, on February 5th, 1911, that copper-clad dome structure was struck by lightning and would become a shell of what it once was. The good thing about it, though, is that there was some parts salvaged, so they could build the fourth one, which is one of the biggest capitals in the States. And it is a big son of a, that's St. Louis's City Hall. Hold on one second. Where was I? A massive, that's Kansas City's post office.
And look again, it's like they intentionally cut it off. Like, what is going on here?
They're so confusing. There's a lot of Capitol looking buildings in Missouri. Let's get to the fourth one. You see what I mean? I mean, how many dome structures does one state need? Where's the tipping point, guys? Where's the no man, the materials guy that's pulling his hair out? Like, guys, this is too many Capitol. Kansas City, we can't do your post office like this. St. Louis, we can't. City Hall? Like a Capitol? We already got capitals. They keep burning because Joe Blow wanted to put copper on it. So no lawmakers, governors, the Missouri State Commission said, hold up on the rotunda with the freeze all the way around? Dog, that sounds expensive. And according to my calculation, this one's going to burn too. Nope. Just green flags left and right for any architect that has the most expensive ideas. We're going to build this fourth Capitol and we're going to go broke now. Another thing that caught my eye is that this first depiction of the first Capitol sure looks very, very similar to the fourth Capitol. I mean, but it's just a depiction. It's not like this was just already standing there, right? And listen to this.
I think it was already standing there. Because if you look at this and compare it to the photos, look, it's oddly similar.
This, in the 1920s, when Jefferson City was just picked, the bluff for the Capitol, there was nothing in Kansas City. There was nothing there in the 1930s. It wasn't until the 1940s that there was 500 people, a small settlement. Then 40 years later, this is their city hall. And only 5 years after the copper-cladded Capitol, the conductive one, right, was built, this was Union Depot with a city of only 30 or 40,000 people. Now, tell me if this sounds familiar. The Convention Center of Kansas City. It was built in 1 year, 1899 to 1900. But in 1900, it burned. So they rebuilt it. Then it burnt again in 1909. And I'm sure you can guess by now, St. Louis is a whole nother ballgame. This is a 2-year build, their Union Station.
This is insane. Look at this place, guys. Again, the white skies doesn't add up, but this building that they took a picture of, man, this is magnificent. It's like a castle / apartment complex. Like something you'll see people, they would turn this into a university, 100%.
And now St. Louis is a whole nother ballgame. This is a 2-year build, their Union Station. St. Louis's post office. What happened to post offices? Why are they what they are today? 14-year build, City Hall, 1890 to 1904. Then it was demolished soon after in 1946. Sad. I showed you St. Louis's courthouse. It was actually done in 1864. Yeah, very early. But this is their newest one with the pyramid at top. It's almost like this area has something to do with Egypt. It's just the weirdest thing. Interesting.
Damn, they do have a pyramid on top. What is going on in St. Louis? They literally have a pyramid on top of this skyscraper. That is interesting, and it looks like there's something on top of it. That better not be a sphinx.
It has something to do with Egypt. It's just the weirdest thing. An interesting little nugget that I found about that 1864 St. Louis courthouse is that it has turtles all around it, and it supposedly represents a turtle that lived in the courthouse fountain. Or maybe that turtle is symbolic for something that the builders knew that we don't think they know.
What a deep dive. One thing's for sure, these buildings aren't adding up. The stories they're telling us and the old photos being white out, something's not adding up. It's that time of the day again, and if you thought I wasn't going to hit you with another excellent specimen of the day, think again.
Rob, what's this rock?
Legrandite is one of those holy grail species of rare minerals that are also beautiful. But we really don't see a lot of good matrix specimens. This is a piece from Old Discoveries here that features a uniquely placed, long, elongated crystal just standing there on matrix looking at you. It's dramatic, it's shiny, it's sparkly, and it's this neon yellow that's unique to this mineral species.
This is pretty cool, to say the least. The rating I'm going to give this is 8.5, and I'm going to call this chocolate stone and yellow licorice. Drop your rating and your name in the comments below for the specimen. That's all we got for today's video. If you enjoyed this one, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button, and also drop the code word in the comments below. That lets me know you're a real one. You made it all the way through the video and you really rock with your boy. The code word for today is in these waters. I just want to say I love you guys, and I'm gonna see you soon.